In this video, let's take a look at practice quiz number 13 on trigonometry. Number 1 says to convert the given degree measure to radians. So we're going to take 144 degrees, and to convert it to radians, we need to multiply by pi over 180 degrees. So to type that in your calculator, don't type in the pi because we want to put this in radians. So we're just going to type 144 divided by 180 and then get a fraction from your calculator and then rewrite it with the pi. So 4 pi over 5. Then to convert the given radian measure to degrees, we just need to do the opposite. So I always think I want to get rid of that pi that's there. So put that at the bottom and then put 180 at the top this time. So the exact opposite of what we did in the part A. So then the pi will cancel out and we just have 3 times 180 left over, which gives us 540 degrees. All right, so that's it for converting on number 1. Let's look at number 2. It says find a positive and a negative coterminal angle to an angle that measures 158 degrees. So to find another coterminal angle, that means that it's an angle that would rotate around 360 degrees. So we need to add 360 to just find another one that would land in the same position. So that would be 518 degrees. And then to find a negative coterminal angle, it's just going in the opposite direction, but still all the way back around the circle to land in the same spot. So 158 minus 360 is negative 202 degrees. All right, number 3 says find the exact value of the following. So sine of 300 degrees, so we need to think of our unit circle. So sine of 300, so I go to 300, and the sine is the y value of that point. So it's negative square root of 3 over 2. So I just need to write equals negative square root of 3 over 2. Don't get the decimal because we want the exact value. And then the cosine of 120, so I need to go to 120 degrees. And then the cosine is the x value. So negative 1/2 would be the cosine of 120. Okay, so number 4 says graph one cycle of the following function. Y equals 4 sine x minus 1. So we have 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi already plotted on the graph for us. We just need to get some more points. So what I'm going to do is graph the midline, and I know the midline has shifted down to negative 1. So I'm just going to sketch it with a highlighter. So that's like my midline. And then sine usually starts at 0, but now it's just down because it's where my midline is now, which is at negative 1. And then it has a amplitude equal to 4. So that means from this new starting point, I need to go up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So for that next main point, I need to be up 4 from the midline. And then for the next point, I need to come back down to the midline. So at pi, I'm going to be at negative 1. And then from the midline, I need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for the last point, I just need to come up to the midline. Whoops, I went a little too far. Just to the midline, because that's like your new x-axis in a way. So then I get this nice looking graph of sine. Now you can also type this in Desmos, but it does take a little bit of work to fix the window, but we can do it. So let me split my screen and clear out Desmos. And I'm going to type 4, or let's type y equals 4. And then go to the functions menu to get sine of x minus 1. So I've got some pretty good points, but I want to make my window look like my graph. So I want to make it look like it goes up and down the right amount. So let's just say negative 5 to positive 5 for the y-axis will be fine. And then the x-axis goes from 0 to 2 pi, and then the step means like what is your first tick mark is a good way to look at it. So that's pi divided by 2. And see now on Desmos, I have all these really nice turning points that I can plot. And what's good is you can also plot your midline. So y equals -1. It always goes with your vertical or, or excuse me, your vertical shift. So that was, I said that correctly. And then I can just click on all those good points that I've already plotted on my graph, but you can also get them from Desmos. It just takes a little bit of work to set up the windows so that it looks like what's on your paper. All right, for number 5, we just need to state the key features of the graph. So to pick these out, you can look just at your equation and pick everything out that you need. So the amplitude is the A value. So not the positive or negative, but just the value of it, or absolute value of that number. So that is just equal to 2. Our midline, like we were just talking about on that last graph, goes with the vertical shift. So it'll be y equals -5, and we always write it as an equation of a line because it is a line, like the midline word says. The period of your graph is always 2 pi divided by b, and the b value is always whatever's right in front of your variable and right after cosine or sine. So it's always whatever's right in between those. So that's going to be 2 pi divided by 4, and then we could just reduce it a little bit to be pi over 2. And then the transformations are that we have a, let me grab another color. We have a negative in the front, so that makes it always reflect over the x-axis when that happens. We do have an amplitude of 2, so that makes it have a vertical stretch by a factor of 2, just like our A value always does those 2 jobs. So vertical stretch by a factor of 2. And then it had a downshift of 5. So it shifts down 5. And that's all that we need to pick out for the transformations. So that is it for practice quiz 13.